Listen, I try not to hate unconditionally, but there are some people, and especially in today's society, man, we've reached. I don't know how many times I can see somebody do something overall that's like detrimental to society, and there's somebody on Twitter who's just like, well, at least they're making money. You got to respect it. No, I don't. I don't just have to respect somebody because they can make money. You can make money being a good person. It's possible. You don't have to be a piece of trash. I don't know where this I don't know if like maybe they watch too many movies about capitalism bad or whatnot, so they think the only way you can become successful is by taking advantage of people and whatnot. But Salt Bae, he's up there. I've heard some bad things about him.
Restaurant closures, rapidly declining reviews, and his lowest growth on Instagram in over 6 years.
Oh, no.
Things have gone from bad.
That's big. That's big. You might not care about that. Maybe you don't use Instagram at all, but these like Twitter and Instagram users, man, they get real worked up over followers, because that's the only way they can make money.
To worse for Salt Bae.
What's he gonna do? Actually cook good food? I heard he's not even good at that.
Up until this unfavorable point. His first time in hot water came just months after Salt Bae first went viral, occurring when fans scrolled back through his Instagram to find this photo commemorating the life of.
I don't care about this at all. You know how many t-shirts I see with I see edgy t-shirts about anything communism related all the time.
Fidel Castro in the days after his death. At around the same time, Salt Bae had recently opened a steakhouse in Miami, a city to which approximately 500,000 Cubans had fled to as a result of Castro's leadership. Some people just don't think. To post pics like this and then open a restaurant in Miami. Really? I just called and cancelled 2 reservations and told them how I feel about their salt guy and his post. Picture posted a few days after Castro's death. Nice thought, WTF. He should open in Cuba and sprinkle his salt over there. The comments on the
I heard Cubans. Never mind.
post itself echoed a similar sentiment, leading Salt Bae to remove the picture. However, he'd find himself in a similar controversy less than a year later. In September 2018, Salt Bae came under scrutiny once again for providing a feast to the Venezuelan president, who governs a country in which
The funny thing about Venezuela, right? When I was in Colombia, in Bogota, there was a guy who made art. He made little statues out of Venezuelan money. The money is literally worth less than just regular ass paper. It would be more expensive for you to buy the paper to make the little statue, like origami type things that he was making, than it would be to just use the Venezuelan money. Kind of crazy.
64% of people have reported losing significant amounts of weight, 11 kilos or 24 pounds on average, amid worsening food shortages.
Yeah.
As a Venezuelan,
a lot going on.
It me seeing my president feasting on a meal while me and my family were starving.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but traditionally, politicians all across the planet, even here, who's that woman? I keep forgetting her name. She's so close to death. She's a senator. She's very, very close to death, and she's still at it. She's still at it. She's made a ton of money. Like literally, her net worth is a little bit higher than the standard for your average senator, as it turns out. Turns out the average income for a senator is a lot higher than they told us at school. I remember hearing things like, oh, the president can only make like $400K. That's the best he can do. I guess it's more profitable to just not be president. Just become president, and then you can become a multi-millionaire afterwards. Through who knows? It's all a mystery.
I cannot believe this video. This guy eating tomahawk steaks or whatever that is, and the people from his country dying of hunger.
Like I said, hey, I can't even get mad at this, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm so used to it. Like, this is something I could see happening in America, Yeah, we got homeless, but who's going to stop the president from having a nice steak,
It's so much better when you know the folks back home are starving. After the Venezuelan president then explained that Salt Bae had personally invited him to the restaurant, protests broke out in front of Salt Bae's Miami restaurant, with one sign reading, "Did you know, Salt Bae, that in the time it took you to wine and dine dictator Maduro with your bloody meat, at least one Venezuelan child died of extreme malnutrition? However, this might not have even been Salt Bae's biggest controversy for the month. Only 8 days after these protests, a new article was posted reading, 4 tourists are set on fire at Instagram star Salt Bae's Istanbul restaurant.
You're supposed to cook the food, not the customers. You're not supposed to. All right.
Which had happened as a result of a fire show gone wrong.
That's like a sniper wolf input there. What the heck? He's cooking the customers, not the food.
Tourist who'd been set on fire was a Czechoslovakian YouTuber and model named Tina Stresnikova, who suffered burns to more than 35% of her body.
For some reason, I thought it was going to be worse. Like, when you say lit on fire, I'm thinking like you're a little, you're like the Human Torch. I don't know why. My brain isn't like, oh, you can't just have a few burn spots.
and can be seen with slight but visible burn scars on her Instagram even till this day. Her 23-minute video on the topic, translating to "the moment that changed my life," is unfortunately spoken in Czechoslovakian without subtitles. However, an article posted a year after the incident stated
We're going to court, been a long time not saying. He's gonna read it.
that Tynes had received.
This is why I should just stop reacting to anything that Sunny V2 does, because he literally explains it. Like, what am I gonna say other than like my little anecdotes about things that are completely irrelevant to the situation, but I'm going to keep doing it because I'm interested in the topic.
No compensation for the mistake, and that the restaurant had instead destroyed all evidence related to the incident.
The thing is, right, the best evidence that you have is the burn marks on your body. So how does that work out? Does this Salt Bae, the people there, his restaurant, they're just like, yeah, no, she did that to herself. You can't prove that we did it. They just turn off all the cameras and they just have to accept it. I don't think so, man.
Did eventually pay out $230,000 in compensation, although not to Tynes for permanently altering her appearance, but rather to 4 mistreated employees in Salt Bae's next big controversy. The 4 employees claimed that Salt Bae was taking 3% from their total tips, which was followed by Salt Bae firing.
That's so strange, because it's like so small, but also like why? Like, why take any of their money? He's got to be a millionaire. Why take any of their money? But also it's like, it seems like it's such an insignificant amount. Like, it pisses me off because he probably thought it's only 3%. I can get away with this.
The 4 employees after being confronted about it. As a result, the employees launched a wrongful termination lawsuit, explaining that their former boss had an authoritarian, dictatorial attitude who doesn't care about local laws. They even suggested Salt Bae likened himself to Tony Montana and humiliated them on occasions in the lawsuit.
Everyone thinks they're Tony Montana. It's like any movie that Ryan Gosling's in, you know? It's one of those, he's literally me moments.
Yet Salt Bae responded by stating, "I don't get a share of the employees' tips. I've never done that in any of my restaurants. I was not satisfied with the performance of the 4 employees. They didn't match my understanding of work. They weren't as good as I wanted, so I terminated their contract right away."
But he still had to pay them, so like none of this matters. Like, the more it's like I hear the excuses, doesn't really matter because you had to pay, you know?
Yet these 4 employees weren't the only ones claiming that they'd been mistreated while working for Salt Bae.
They had to split the $230,000, or was that $230,000 awarded to each of them? I don't know.
A former employee at the Nusret restaurant in London described it as gold from the outside but shit from the inside, whilst another compared the working environment to the Hunger Games, as staff never knew if they'd be fired during a shift, with a third likening the restaurateur to a dictator. Former employee Frank,
it's like a third time I've heard that,
stated that he was treated poorly as a result of being American, while another former manager explained his world was nothing but Instagram and fame. The sensation was him. He ended up getting this godlike complex, highlighting Salt Bae's next big problem. With massive artworks of his one viral moment and every third...
Isn't it crazy to think about that he literally was just like, he just poured some salt on some meat in a very like over-the-top way, and they're like, this is the next big guy. And it worked. Like, he blew up. Like, he has people, like, no matter what, I'm telling you, there's people right now that will watch this entire video and go, everyone that doesn't like him is just a hater. That's the problem with the hater mentality. The biggest mistake that we did, it's kind of like when we started to say the customer is always right. We should have set some ground rules here, right? Like, the customer is always right, but that doesn't mean the customer gets to be an asshole. It just means, like, if the customer wants a really ugly tux, but that's what they want, then you make it for them, right? But that doesn't always mean the customer gets to be an asshole. You know what I mean? Same thing with I love my haters, right? Because in theory, you have to accept as a human being that there's going to be people out there that don't like you for the stupidest of reasons. You know what I mean? Valid reasons, of course, but there's nothing you can do about it. You are who you are. You know deep down how good of a person you are, but you should know that at the end of the day, there's always going to be somebody who gets upset at you for no reason, right? So there's like a mentality there, but we took that and we said, I love my haters, right? We took that mentality and we just decided to be bad people. Like, we would purposely do things that were very annoying. And then if anyone questioned what we did, we'd go, well, I made a lot of money being an asshole. You're just a hater. That's a problem. That's where we messed up. We messed up somewhere along that line. And that's why we have people that will just like tear up fast food places, ruin like retail workers' days and prank them and do all this, because in their head, they're like, anyone that dislikes me, they just dislike me because they're a hater and they're jealous of my money. When in reality, you just suck as a person. You know, it's not that complicated.
Instagram picture being him working out shirtless. It seems Salt Bae is just a bit too full of himself, and while some degree of ego might be necessary for success, he takes it to a whole new level. When interviewed by The Times in 2019, Salt Bae seemed convinced that every kid wanted to be him, stating, "Now everybody wants to be a butcher because of me. Now if you ask a kid, they want..."
That's interesting. I would have thought Fortnite streamer. You know, around the time when he was popular, when was that? Like 2017? When was Salt Bae popular? 2018, 2017? I don't even remember, right? But around that period, you know, they probably just wanted to be streamers. I'm pretty sure that's like the number one thing. Like you hear it all the time. People talk about how in China the kids want to be scientists, and over here in the US they just want to be influencers. They don't want to be a butcher. They want to be like you in a sense where they want to sprinkle some salt on some meat and blow up to such a level for just being that person that you no longer have to butcher at all.
To be Salt Bae. They see me as an idol. I'm an inspiration to a lot of people in a very short period of time.
And then you messed it up.
Always taking the opportunity to brag about money. Salt Bae had posted an $8,000 bill as well as a different $47,000 bill. Yet the picture that really kicked up a stink, $1 bill as well as a different
The bottles. I always look for the bottles. Sauteed broccoli, $14 for some broccoli. Because, you know, the markup on wine is insane. You go to a restaurant, you can spend $200 on a bottle of wine. That'll be like $15 at the grocery store. If you can find it. Like, if you can find it, because they won't always have it. But, you know, $18 for asparagus, $12 for mashed potatoes. What is with the baklava? Golden baklava? I swear if that's some type of baklava with like gold shavings on it. Because why would it be $200 for baklava? Baklava is hard to make, but you can also, like, I can tell you right now, I can drive 5 minutes up the street. I can get baklava, like a little piece, for like $1, and it'll be good. Will it be the most amazing baklava ever? No. I'm concerned. Herb crusted fries, $30. So that's $10 each. Gotta pay attention to the numbers here. So it's $50 for a golden baklava, $11 Red Bull. Interesting. Sparkling water, rosé, 2006, 2 bottles of that. Who is paying for this? Tell them to go to the local grocery store. You can find rosé. It's a 2006. That's crazy. I don't drink rosé a lot. I drink a lot of red.
$47,000 bill. Yet the picture that really kicked up a stink was the $167,000 bill posted to Salt Bae's Instagram with the title "Quality Never Expensive." The opulent bill mixed with his
quality never expensive. Let's go back because I want
to Salt Bae.
A virgin mojito? You know what's crazy about that? There's no alcohol in that. That's what that means. In case nobody knew, $180 for 4 virgin mojitos. That's basically like getting 4 Sprites. 4 Sprites. Onion, flour, French fry. 4 French fries for $180. 1 Heineken is $55. That's a Heineken. That's just a Heineken. $55 for a Heineken.
His Instagram with the title "Quality Never Expensive."
Sometimes I feel like these types of people just have absolutely no respect for the people that they sell anything to, whether it be their image or their actual product. They're just like, whatever. This guy's an idiot. He'll pay $55 for a Heineken. That you can literally. Heineken's perfect because it's not like a wine where it's like, oh, it's a 2006. You might have to, it might be hard to find. Blah blah blah. It's just Heineken. You can go to the store. You can get a 24-pack of Heineken from the store for less than just 1 Heineken from his restaurant. That's great.
Expensive. The opulent bill mixed with his arrogant description prompted comments such as, "I have eaten in your restaurant. Quality."
And by the way, if you're one of those idiots that will that would pay for something like that and be like, you're just jealous because I can afford it. No, I'm jealous of people that are, what's the word I'm looking for? Responsible with their money. Like the millionaires who are good at investing their money and not wasting it, but they still get to do cool things, but they're not wasting it like on something like Heineken. You know what I mean? There's like a difference because it's like there's expensive experiences that are like once in a lifetime that maybe only somebody that's really rich could afford. That rich person could also be like, I mean, I could pay $55 for a Heineken, but he would also be aware that Heinekens are not worth $55, So it's not really like jealousy. I just think you're an idiot.
Quality is questionable, and I've eaten there, the food was not good, with this sentiment being echoed by countless different people. YouTube channel Google Foods ordered the $2,000 steak before stating this:
"It was not what we..."
Don't get anything that has those stupid gold flakes on them, man. There's literally no benefit to getting those little gold flakes on anything. They're a complete waste of time. And while I'm at it, gold is overrated, okay? Any of those people that buy the highest carat gold, it scratches too easily. Gold is overrated. As for any image type thing.
Expected. For $2,000, I gotta say, I thought it would be way bigger.
Also adding that the $275 tomahawk.
I would rather pay $2,000 for the steak without the gold thing on it. That's how agitated I get by the gold thing.
Hawk steak had been cooked incorrectly.
That was rare, even though we ordered medium rare. Now, there's nothing wrong with rare steak, but if you order medium rare,
I'd rather have the rare, so I'd be fine with that. But I get where he's coming from.
You should get what you paid for.
True.
A different YouTuber,
especially if you're paying that much,
who was looking to give a purely objective review, stated that the waiter's performance was fun, yet the quality of the food was no better.
This is so stupid. It's so crazy that it all started because of that.
Than any other steakhouse. On TripAdvisor, Salt Bae's London restaurant
not looking good
at 15,200 out of 15,700 restaurants, with its rating of
he's below McDonald's.
2.5 stars, making it worse than 96.8% of all other restaurants in the city. The steakhouse features predominantly terrible and 1-star reviews, with most complaining about horrible.
I hate whenever I'm like looking for reviews of stuff and it's either like all bad or all amazing. Like the real trustworthy reviews are like the 3 and the 4 stars. You know, if it's 3 to 4 stars from somebody, you can usually trust their review because they're not like so blind that it's perfect, but they're not just being like, oh, I hate this guy. It's terrible. Although I'd probably give him 1, but I just never go there because I would see the price of a Heineken is $55 and I'd be like, I'm not an idiot. Why would I do that?
Horrible quality, bad service, and so incredibly expensive for such a bad quality of food. This guy was upset after the restaurant charged him 44 British pounds for 4 Red Bulls. However,
oh no, I wanted to see the rest. Dude, come on.
British pounds for 4 Red Bulls.
Barada.
However, at least he didn't call the police after finding out the price, which is what happened over in Florida.
Yo, shout out to Florida, you know? It's where I live. It would be here that I'm surprised somebody didn't shoot him when they saw the price.
Whilst eating at Salt Bae Steakhouse in Miami, Dwayne Miranda ordered 2 standard $275 tomahawk steaks, yet he was instead unknowingly presented with 2 golden tomahawk steaks, being charged more than $5,000 for his meal when he eventually got to the counter. We ordered 2 tomahawk,
and it's useless. And it's useless. That markup, $1,000 for each. He was paying $275. He got a markup, $750 markup, right? They say no. It said $275, $220 or $725. They got that big of a markup, $725. They got that big of a markup. See, now I'm confused. Did he say $275? It doesn't matter. It was a huge markup, and all they did was add some gold shavings that literally do nothing for the flavor at all. Makes it taste a little metal.
Tomahawk steaks and a rack of
Dwayne, what are you doing? Why would you go there, Dwayne? You're smarter than this. Look at you wearing your nice little suit and tie.
flair for the table. When the bill came, we were shocked by the total. They insisted that we ordered the golden option and charged us $1,000 for each. We absolutely did not order that option. Although we did eat what was brought to the table thinking this was the normal presentation for our order, it was clear that the waiter was trying to take advantage of the situation. After disputing the misunderstanding with management, they decided to involve local law enforcement rather than do the right thing. We paid the disputed $5,000 bill to avoid further conflict, yet this was still minor in comparison to what happened at Salt Bae Steakhouse in Boston. After opening up on the 18th,
It's crazy that he can just be so terrible. And it's like so many of these places, it's like it's not like he's there all the time. It's just like his shittiness trickles down to everything he touches.
of September 2020, the restaurant, quote, almost immediately began racking up health code violations. City inspectors reported that COVID-19 safety guidelines were being flouted, crowds were not social distancing, 2 fire exits were blocked, permits were not in order, the dishwasher was not running hot enough, and the refrigerators were apparently too cold, leading the government to shut the restaurant down only 1 week after opening. In the meantime, Salt Bae posted this seemingly wholesome family photo to his Instagram, yet this would also end in another wave of criticism.
Oh my god,
Turkey
dude.
chef Salt Bae meets mother after 2 years, criticized for not looking after her.
It really, when you're I don't want to say the cool thing, but the interesting thing is once you're kind of known for being a bad guy, pretty much anything you do is fair game. You know, he could park and be slightly over the line and they would try to put him in jail. You know, I don't know why he hasn't seen his mother in 2 years. I don't follow him enough.
It seems Salt Bae was getting loads of backlash in every situation, regardless of whether or not he deserved it. For example, when a waiter at one of his restaurants accidentally dropped a steak, Salt Bae was getting roasted in the comments by people saying that he was going to charge them twice. People simply didn't like him, so when he'd actually...
And you see how the waiter did not panic at all? That's because he knows that he dropped like $20 worth of meat or something. He dropped like $20 worth of meat. Maybe more. I didn't see what cut it was really. I can't remember. What's steak cost now? Like $500 because of inflation? He dropped like $20 worth of meat, but he was like, it won't matter. We charge way more than that. I could drop 20 steaks and we wouldn't even be at a loss.
do something deplorable in December 2022.
This was
world
weird.
Took it as a chance to completely and utterly
Yeah,
destroy
I
him.
remember the
After
world turning on him
Argentina
for this.
beat
It was
France
so
in the
weird.
World Cup final, Salt Bae waltzed onto the field as if he was everybody's best friend. He pestered
It's so funny that Messi, like, he just like didn't even know him. That's crazy. That's got to be the worst thing that can happen to somebody that has his kind of ego. For somebody to just be like, I don't even know who you are.
The next day, Salt Bae tried to show that he and Messi were friends by posting a video of them together in his steakhouse. However, comments such as,
He's one of those dudes that sits really, really close to people when he talks. Those people always have this stinkiest breath, dude.
I love Argentina. I've lived there. I went to support them. Many of the team have come to the restaurant. I didn't feel a stranger. It was a special moment. I can't do anything about the reason I was there, but I would never ever step on the World Cup pitch again. There were 2 billion people watching the World Cup. How many people are speaking about me? 5 billion, the whole world. I didn't go
I don't know, man. Probably about 1 billion.
on the pitch with the
That's like, it's kind of, what do you mean more people were talking about you? It's like, dude, like you're in the wrong. Why do you still have to brag? Like, why are you still bragging? He's like, oh, 2 billion people watch the world. How many were talking about me? Probably 5 billion, more than the World Cup. No, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. It's probably, I wouldn't even say 1 billion. I'd say most people are probably smart enough to see you do something stupid and be like, oh, he's just an idiot, and then not talk about you at all.
purpose of advertising.
I'm the idiot
I
for
just felt like
talking
it.
about
Then
you,
there was
to be
a
honest
bit
with
of a
you.
surprise. There were at least another 1,000 people on the pitch, but when they show the video, they make out it was just me. I never ever wanted to overshadow anything. I didn't like the attention, with the possible motive for the explanation being that things haven't been going so well for Salt Bae ever since that day.
Well,
just 2 weeks prior to giving that interview, Salt Bae had to close down
it's already so hard to like run a restaurant. People talk about that all the time. People seem to think that running a restaurant is easy. So like, when you have such a negative reputation, it's like, it's gonna get worse.
his self-titled Salt Bae burger restaurant in New York City.
No, that's
which
more
had
like
gained
it.
a reputation for selling $99 gold.
Like, I thought for a second after seeing that ad that this was just gonna be a normal looking burger place. And it's got to be like, you can even see the gold shaving part, and it's $90-something. Dear God, dude.
Gold flaked milkshakes, and a $100 burger wrapped in gold foil. On top of this, it's been reported that Salt Bae Steakhouse in Greece is now receiving a third of the bookings it used to, from 600 per day to approximately 200 per day, while his London steakhouse, which we discussed earlier as having some of the worst reviews in the city, recently announced that they'd be reducing their prices in, quote, what appears to be a desperate bid to entice customers back to
Like,
its
what kind
doors.
of prices can you charge with your dumbass? It was already stupid. You could cut the prices in half and it would still be overpriced.
For the last 6 months,
By the way, a $55 Heineken would be what, $27.50? Is that how much it would be? I don't know. I'm not doing the math. I have a headache right now. It'd still be over $20 for a Heineken.
Bae has gained approximately 300,000 followers per month, and while this is still a bafflingly high number for someone who seemingly does very little, this is the lowest growth he's had on social media since first blowing up in January 2017.
Wait, don't play anything else.
Rest
I was correct. It was $27.50. And I thought I was being stupid. I've been stupid like this entire time. My head hurts so much. It's insane. I did take medication. I'm whining too much. You guys don't care. Salt Bae sucks.